We're gonna do that this morning.
If you want.
Yeah, we're gonna do this morning. Man, that was the plan. That was the plan. Oh, what are we doing on time? Oh man, it's 10 o'clock exactly. Time to turn on. Man, you know what I did this weekend?
What you did this weekend?
I have spent years, literally years, trying to contact my all-time favorite teacher. I might have told you about that. But my all-time favorite teacher again. I had so much to thank her for. I have looked for her for years, obviously on social media and so forth. Good morning, everyone. Looked for her on social media. Couldn't find her. Basically because she doesn't do a whole lot online. But this weekend, I found her.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
I found her. And we ended up first texting back and forth. And I won't bore you with it. Oh, that's never done that before. Well, good morning, everyone. I guess you got to get rid of that little window there. Good morning, everyone. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. And I see we have, as always, our host, Tarane, who is the host for the Clearwater Bahá'ís. And we have Kambiz. Good morning, Kambiz. How are you? We have Darush. Good morning, Darush.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. And
Good morning.
hey there.
Do you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friends. God's blessings upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Hey there, Mark. Good morning. Morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Sing Hosanna.
Hosanna.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Allah, in the sanctuary of our Lord's protection and the stronghold of our Lord's defense. With His love, our spirits are illumined as we glorify His name. Our hearts are blessed.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, everyone. We're glad you could join us. I can't read the screen. Daryl, do you see whose name that is there on the little Facebook stream?
No, I don't.
I can't see that either. We need some young people in here, man, so they can just tell us this is what it says. But it's good to see all of you this morning. And as usual, this morning, our devotion will be coming from Baha'u'llah's teachings on spiritual reality. And today we actually start a new section. And the name of the new section is The Spiritual Life. It's part 2 in this book, The Spiritual Life. You know, a lot of people say they're not religious, they're spiritual. Maybe when we read this, we can find out hopefully what they mean, or at least what they should mean, if they don't really mean it. But yeah, we're going to be looking at the spiritual life, and we're going to put my prayer book. Let's see, we've got Camby's, and we've got Elahe and Gilbert. Good morning, Gilbert. Good morning, Mark. And who's that? It just came in. Farah is here. Hi there, Farah. How are you? I already said good morning to Darush and Camby's and Tarane. I don't know who that is in the middle. But anyway, we won't spend too much time looking at tiny print, but it's good that all of you could join us. Let's start with a prayer for spiritual qualities. Oh, my Lord, make thy beauty to be my food, and thy presence my drink, and thy pleasure my hope, and praise of thee my action, and remembrance of thee my companion, and the power of thy sovereignty my succorer, and thy habitation my home, and my dwelling place the seat thou hast sanctified from the limitations imposed upon them who are shut out as by a veil from thee. Thou art verily the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the Most Powerful. And this is a prayer by Baha'u'llah. And so, as we said earlier, today we're going to be talking about, this whole book, as you can see, is Baha'u'llah's teachings on spiritual reality. And of course, there are a whole lot of aspects to spirituality and what this dispensation brings with it in regards to spiritual, let's say, context or spiritual issues. And today we're going to just look at, starting with, again, there's a little lead in here that Daryl's going to read for us, if he'd be so kind. Because this portion of this book, there are several chapters. We're only going to obviously do one today, as we always do. And for anyone who's wondering what the chapter number is, this chapter, chapter 6. Chapter 6. And we're going to be hearing from, reading from the writings of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha and Shoghi Effendi as well. But we have a little lead in here for the people that put the book together. So Daryl, if you'd be so kind.
The Baha'i teachings explain that the soul of a human being is like a mirror. The full potentialities latent within can only be revealed if the mirror is polished and free from stain. It is also essential that the mirror be properly directed. If it is directed toward the material, animal dimension of human nature, it reflects those qualities. The powers of a human being are then centered on self, indulgence, and a potential for evil. If the mirror is directed toward the higher dimension of human nature, the qualities of the spiritual life are manifested. What are the characteristics of the spiritual life? And how does one acquire and perfect these qualities? Among those characters described by Baha'u'llah are faith, mastery of self, and sanctity and holiness. Love and unity provide basic conditions that promote the cultivation of spiritual qualities. Love and unity provide the basic conditions that promote cultivation of spiritual qualities. Prayer and meditation, service to humanity, and effort and perseverance are among the keys that unlock the doors to these attainments.
Okay, stop. I know we're just starting. And maybe sometimes we repeat too much. I don't know, but I think that bears repeating. Even though these aren't the words of Baha'u'llah, it's of course based on the words of Baha'u'llah.
Absolutely.
Yes, based on the Baha'i writings. So could you please read, I don't know.
Prayer and meditation, service to humanity, and effort and perseverance are among the keys that unlock the doors to these attainments.
Yeah.
These attainments being the characteristics described by Baha'u'llah: faith, mastery of self, and sanctity and holiness.
Yes.
These qualities and the disciplines required for their achievement are not new. Baha'u'llah's purpose is to resurrect these concepts, free them from distortions and misinterpretations, and broaden their implications.
Okay, I have to say something. You remember last week we were working on, we actually took a moment out to talk about the matrix, because that was a word that was used. Was that last week or week before last? It was last week.
Yeah.
Well, look at this sentence that says, love and unity provide basic conditions that promote the cultivation of spiritual qualities. So to answer the question as to what's so important about love and unity, that's why that is so important. If we can create a unified world where love is, let's say, one or maybe the primary component, then a lot of these spiritual qualities will develop much more easily.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will have created an environment that will nurture those more than some of the baser qualities that are part of, being a physical being.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
So now you have to go back to what the definition of the matrix was.
Okay. The matrix, the definition of matrix is an environment where something can grow and exist.
Something can grow and exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that term was used last week. And this just basically said that matrix is that we should be trying to create, that everyone can grow and exist in, is love and unity.
That's right.
Yeah.
These are the conditions.
Those conditions, yeah.
That will allow things to grow within that matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we've gone full circle. These qualities are the disciplines required for their achievement, are not new. Baha'u'llah's purpose is to resurrect these concepts, free them from distortions and misinterpretations, and broaden their implications.
Okay, stop there. Why do these things need resurrection? I mean, my question is I should probably put a little more context in it. As you know, we're told and we believe that throughout time, God has sent messengers, prophets, manifestations of God. And, they all come to establish, to teach the word of God, to move mankind spiritually forward, it help us evolve spiritually. So if that's what they're all doing, why is this need to resurrect? Resurrect is something, what gets resurrected? Something that has already died, or at least is dying, has weakened.
Has weakened. Because typically, even though God sends messengers for us for each stage of man's development, man somehow, as man grows, thinks that he knows better and he has the upper hand, and so it's important that these qualities be resurrected so that the message is reinforced.
Yeah.
And that the matrix is reinforced.
Yeah.
So that's the need for resurrection, because for most, over time, anything kind of wanes a little bit. Okay. And when it comes to man and man's spiritual quality and spiritual growth, that wanes a bit as well, because man seems to think that he has the upper hand when God really truly has the upper hand.
Yeah.
This is his way of reminding us that he has the upper hand.
Yeah. And it says, his purpose is to resurrect these concepts, free them from distortion. So by the time a new manifestation comes along, there's some distortion that's been going on. And misinterpretations. There's some misinterpreting that goes on, and broaden their implications, show what these concepts apply to in our lives and so forth. And so anyway, I just felt, again, I'm going to try and from now on until you finish this section, I'm not gonna interrupt you anymore. I'm going to try not to anyway. For example.
For example, he explains that faith is not belief in the irrational, but rather conscious knowledge expressed in action. I'm going to say that again.
Yes.
Faith is not belief in the irrational, but rather conscious knowledge expressed in action. Love and unity are not confined to those of one's group, but to all the people of the earth. Mastery of self and sanctity and holiness are presented by Baha'u'llah as fundamental to the expression of spirituality and are not to be confused with a misplaced puritanical ethic or asceticism. Similarly, in the teachings of Baha'u'llah, prayer and meditation are released from empty ritual, while work done in a spirit of service to humanity is raised to the level of worship of God. Work done in a spirit of service to humanity is raised to the level of worship of God. Baha'u'llah makes an emphatic promise that the greater the effort exerted by each individual to apply him or herself to live the spiritual life, the more they will be empowered to reflect the glory of the names and attributes of God and reveal the wonders of his signs and knowledge.
Yeah. So that's just the opening. That's just the opening. And I don't know how many chapters are in this section. We'll find out as we go through. But right now we're going to look at chapter 6, which is called Reflecting Spiritual Qualities. So for those people who say, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking that. But what does that mean? What should, how should that manifest itself in those people who say they're spiritual? Obviously, if we espouse a particular faith, we're supposed to be spiritual. We're supposed to be. I'm not saying we are, but we're at least supposed to be. But for anyone, whether you are or not, what are those qualities that should be reflected through your spirituality? You want to keep going?
I'll let you take it.
Okay, this first section is coming from Baha'u'llah. And Baha'u'llah in his writing says, "The light of a good character surpasseth the light of the sun, and the radiance thereof. Whoso attaineth unto it is accounted as a jewel among men. The glory and the upliftment of the world must needs depend on it." And I think that last sentence, the glory and the upliftment of the world must needs depend on it. There's nothing about this that says, make more money, build more stuff. No. The light of a good character surpasses the light of the sun and the radiance thereof. And then following that, Abdul Baha says, he refers to the Old Testament. He says, according to the words of the Old Testament, God has said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." This indicates that man is of the image and likeness of God. But what does that mean? He goes on to say, that is to say, the perfections of God, the divine virtues, are reflected or revealed in the human reality. It's not just because we got 2 arms and 2 legs and a head, etc., etc., etc. Just as the light and effulgence of the sun, when cast upon a polished mirror, are reflected fully, gloriously, so likewise, the qualities and attributes of divinity are radiated from the depths of a pure human heart. Therefore, every man imbued with divine qualities, who reflects heavenly moralities and perfections, who is the expression of ideal and praiseworthy attributes, is verily in the image and likeness of God. And yes, I'm going to read that. Every man imbued with divine qualities, who reflects heavenly moralities and perfections, who is the expression of ideal and praiseworthy attributes, is verily in the image and likeness of God. He goes on to say in another passage, observe how darkness has overspread the world. In every corner of the earth, there is strife, discord, and warfare of some kind. Mankind is submerged in the sea of materialism and occupied with the affairs of this world. They have no thought beyond earthly possessions and manifest no desire save the passions of this fleeting mortal existence. Their utmost purpose is the attainment of material livelihood, physical comforts, and worldly enjoyments, such as constitute the happiness of the animal world rather than the world of man. If man is bereft of the divine bestowals, and if his enjoyment and happiness are restricted to his material inclinations, what distinction or difference is there between the animal and himself? In fact, the animal's happiness is greater, for its wants are fewer, and its means of livelihood easier to acquire. Although it is necessary for man to strive for material needs and comforts, his real need is the acquisition of the bounties of God. If he is bereft of divine bounties, spiritual susceptibilities, and heavenly glad tidings, the life of man in this world has not yielded any worthy fruit. If he is bereft of divine bounties, spiritual susceptibilities, and heavenly glad tidings, the life of man in this world has not yielded any worthy fruit. While possessing physical life, he should lay hold of the life spiritual, and together with bodily comforts and happiness, he should enjoy divine pleasures and content. I'm going to read that again. While possessing physical life, he should lay hold of the life spiritual, and together with bodily comforts and happiness, he should enjoy divine pleasures and content. Then is man worthy of the title man. I wonder what we are if we're not. It's when we reach that, or at least strive to reach that level.
Yeah.
That's when we're worthy of that title man. That's when we can say that we're at least striving to be in the image of God. Then will he be after the image and likeness of God, for the image of the merciful consists of the attributes of the heavenly kingdom. If no fruits of the kingdom appear in the garden of his soul, man is not in the image and likeness of God. But if those fruits are forthcoming, he becomes the recipient of ideal bestowals and is enkindled with the fire of the love of God. You know what? I know that's not the end of that section, but I feel like doing a song. You think we ought to do a song?
Sure.
Okay. Let's do this. I Want to Be Ready. Now, for anyone who doesn't know much about the Baha'i faith, there are tell them about the Shrine of Bob, the Baha'i Gardens, and so forth.
Help yourself.
Okay. Well, Baha'is, one of the things that we are told to do if we are able during our earthly life is we should go on pilgrimage. And going on pilgrimage means going to Haifa, Israel. And in Haifa, Israel, there are what we call the Baha'i shrines. And one of those Baha'i shrines is built at the seat of Mount Carmel. For those people who are of the Judeo-Christian or even of the Muslim tradition, you're familiar, I'm sure, with the significance of Mount Carmel. Well, this song mentions Mount Carmel, and I just thought I should give a little explanation as to why. Mount Carmel, as you know, is in the Holy Land. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. come out like it do. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I'm coming out like it do. I gotta get my feet ready to walk the righteous way. Step by step, I'll serve the Lord. Each and every day, I gotta get my feet ready to walk the righteous way. Step by step, I'll serve the Lord. Each and every day, 'cause I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. Mountain like it do. I gotta get my hands ready to help my fellow man. Let good deeds keep my adorning. I'll do the best I can. Gotta get my hands ready to help my fellow man. Let good deeds keep my adorning. I'll do the best I can, 'cause I wanna be ready to walk, ready to walk, ready to walk. I'm gonna like it do. I said I wanna be ready to walk, ready to walk. Ready to walk mountain like it do. I gotta get my heart ready to share the love of God. There's a word that's been revealed. How would I gotta get my heart ready to share the love of God. There's a word that's been revealed. How would I? Instead, I wanna be ready to walk, ready to walk, ready to walk. Mountain like it do. Instead, I wanna be ready to walk, ready to walk, ready to walk. Mountain like it do. Mountain like it do. Mountain like it do. Have a confession. Every time before I get ready to do that song, I am tempted. I should not say this. I am tempted to say, "You want to hear it? Here you go." You'll know what that's a reference to. Okay, to get back to, again, we're talking about spiritual qualities. You want to pick up from where we left off there?
Sure.
Give them a break from me.
If his morals become spiritual in character, his aspirations heavenly, and his actions conformable to the will of God, man has attained the image and likeness of his creator. Otherwise, he is the image and likeness of Satan. Therefore, Christ hath said, "Ye shall know them by their fruits." What are the fruits of the human world? They are the spiritual attributes which appear in man: love for mankind, sincerity toward all, reflecting the oneness of the world of humanity, philanthropy, becoming enkindled with the fire of the love of God, attainment to the knowledge of God, and that which is conducive to human welfare. The virtues and attributes pertaining unto God are evident and manifest, and have been mentioned and described in all the heavenly books. They have been mentioned and described in all the heavenly books. Did I say they have been mentioned and inscribed in all the heavenly books? Among them are trustworthiness, truthfulness, purity of heart while communing with God, forbearance, resignation to whatever the Almighty hath decreed, contentment with the things his will hath provided, patience, nay, thankfulness in the midst of tribulation, and complete reliance in all circumstances upon him.
Man.
All of that bears repeating. The virtues and attributes pertaining to God are all evident and manifest and have been mentioned and described in all the heavenly books. Among them are trustworthiness, truthfulness, purity of heart while communing with God, forbearance, resignation to whatever the Almighty hath decreed, contentment with the things his will hath provided, patience, nay, thankfulness in the midst of tribulation, and complete reliance in all circumstances upon him.
Harold, of that list, is there anything that you would say, okay, I really need to work on that?
Is there anything that I would say?
Yeah.
I need to work on all of it.
Me too.
On
Every
all of
single
it.
one of them.
I don't think that there's one thing here that, you know, I can't say that I don't need to work on that.
Yeah.
But I need to work on all of this. And I think as humans, we all need to work on all of this.
Exactly. You know, I mean, okay, I'm going to repeat a little bit that you already read, where Abdullah says, if his morals become spiritual in character, his aspirations heavenly, and his actions conformable to the will of God, man has attained the image and likeness of his creator. Otherwise, he is the image and likeness of Satan. And I look at this list of things and I juxtapose that with that last statement. And I'm like, another reason to really work on developing these qualities.
Right.
Yeah.
The foundation stone of a life lived in the way of God is the pursuit of moral excellence and the acquisition of a character endowed with the qualities that are well-pleasing in his sight. People have grown weary and impatient of rhetoric and discourse, of preaching and sermonizing. In this day, the one thing that can deliver the world from its travail and attract the hearts of its peoples is deeds, not words. Example, not precept. Saintly virtues, not statements and charters issued by governments and nations on social political affairs. In all matters, great or small, word must be the complement of deed. In all matters, great or small, word must be the complement of deed, and deed the companion of word. Each must supplement, support, and reinforce the other. In all matters, great or small, word must be the complement of deed, and deed the companion of word. Each must supplement, support, and reinforce the other. Today, the most pressing of all tasks is the purification of character, the reforming of morals, the rectification of conduct. It behooveth the loved ones of God to arise among all peoples in such qualities that such acts, that the sweet winds which blow over the gardens of holiness will perfume the whole earth and restore the dead souls to life. What a beautiful passage, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason for God's having made himself manifest and for his shining forth of infinite lights from the realm of the invisible is none other than the training of all men's souls and the refining of the characters of all on earth, so that blessed individuals who have freed themselves from the murk of the animal world shall rise up with those qualities which are the adornings of the reality of man. The purpose is that earthlings should turn into the people of heaven, and those who walk in darkness should come into the light, and those who are excluded should join the inner circle of the kingdom, and those who are as nothing should become intimates of the everlasting glory. It is that the portionless should gain their share of the boundless sea. The portionless shall gain their share of the boundless sea, and the ignorant drink their fill from the living fount of knowledge, that of those who thirst for blood should forsake their savagery, and those who are barbed of claw should turn gentle and forbearing, and those who love war should seek instead for true conciliation. It is that the brutal, their talons razor sharp, should enjoy the benefits of lasting peace, that the foul should learn that there is a realm of purity, and the tainted find their way to the rivers of holiness.
You know, Daryl, I was thinking as you were reading about that section that you read earlier. Man, I can't remember what it is now. But again, about the establishment of unity and of unity and I want to say sanctity, but that's not the word. It was a passage, we just read it. We need younger people doing this, man. I can't remember anything. But we spoke briefly about why unity is so important for the, you know, this, why, again, the creation of an environment,
Right,
where these spiritual qualities can develop. And then we get back here, and I like the fact that Abdul Baha mentions the purpose is that earthlings, it's almost like,
right,
you know,
should turn into the people of heaven.
yeah, we should
That's
turn
right.
into the people of heaven. Instead of walking in darkness, come into the light. And in other words, once again, and we've said this before, when we're talking about developing spiritual qualities, it's not just about getting into heaven. It's not just about the individual.
It's about all mankind.
Exactly. It is about establishing an environment where everyone can be blessed.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, I mean, it's a shared responsibility. It's the responsibility of society as well as responsibility of the individual. Yes, we should be working to develop these qualities in ourselves so we can be that you know, unblemished mirror that reflects the attributes of God. But it's easier in a society where those qualities are promoted, and where I dare say even the organizations and halls of power work to make these things more attainable, work to make these qualities more attainable. I notice he says the portionless should gain their share of the boundless sea. Now maybe this is meant in a spiritual way, but the portionless should gain their share of the boundless sea, and the ignorant drink their fill from the living fount of knowledge.
Right.
And he also refers to, let's say, the people that are all worked up and caught up in warlike, shall we say, that those who thirst for blood should forsake their savagery. And maybe it's not just warlike, but it's also those individuals who thirst for blood and should forsake their savagery. And those who are barbed of claw should turn gentle and forbearing, and so forth. Oh, and there it is. And those who love war should seek instead for true conciliation. Again, we're talking about what every manifestation of God has come to, again, promote and move mankind forward in, and that is the creation of a global society.
That's right. That what it says is that it doesn't matter what your religion is.
Yes.
Okay, because it says the virtues and attributes pertaining to God are evident and manifest and have been mentioned and described in all the heavenly books.
Yes.
And all those heavenly books come from all religions.
Yes.
So those attributes of God are the common thread throughout all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what your religion is. This is for all mankind. This is for mankind's development in within the matrix that says that if your path is towards God, you will acquire these attributes.
Mhm.
That's the goal.
And Baha'u'llah pretty much attests to that in this last passage.
So will you read that?
He says, every soul that walketh humbly with its God in this day and cleaveth unto him shall find itself invested with the honor and glory of all goodly names and stations. Every soul that walketh humbly with its God in this day and cleaveth unto him shall find itself invested with the honor and glory of all goodly names and stations.
Absolutely.
You know what? Let's do another song.
Okay.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, was it last week or a week before last, that we read that? I think it was a week before last, where we read that section on the be generous in prosperity.
Yes.
I think that was week before last, I believe it was. And so I think in keeping with today's topic, maybe it's not a bad idea to remind the people out there what, you know, again, this is, to me, this whole passage is about,
It's all the attributes.
yeah, you want to be spiritual, these are the things you need to be working on.
Be generous in prosperity and thankful in adversity. Be worthy of the trust of thy neighbor and look upon him with a bright and friendly face. Be a treasure to the poor, an admonisher to the rich, an answerer to the cry of the needy, a preserver of the sanctity of thy pledge. Be fair in thy judgment and guarded in thy speech. Be unjust to no man and show all meekness to all men. Be as a lamp unto them that walk in darkness, a joy to the sorrowful, a sea for the thirsty, a haven for the distressed, an upholder and defender of the victim of oppression. Let integrity and uprightness distinguish all thine acts. Be a home for the stranger, a balm for the suffering, a tower of strength for the fugitive. Be eyes to the blind, and a guiding light unto the feet of the erring. Be an ornament to the countenance of truth, a crown to the brow of fidelity, a pillar of the temple of righteousness, a breath of life to the body of mankind, an ensign of the hosts of justice, a luminary above the horizon of virtue, a dew to the soil of the human heart, an ark on the ocean of knowledge, a sun in in the heaven of bounty, a gem on the diadem of wisdom, a shining light in the firmament of thy generation, a fruit upon the tree of humility. We pray, God, to protect thee from the heat of jealousy and the cold of hatred. Verily, he is nigh, ready to answer. Anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems a good they die young. I looked around and he was gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. I looked around and he was gone. Anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. I looked around and he was gone.